Alright guys, so what we are going to do today is we are going to integrate Ajax with Flask. Why? Why is it important? Because let's say we are building a API for a machine learning model and we are sending some user data to our server and then doing something with it like predicting and then giving the output to the user. So generally what we do is we will write some code here, like if method is post then do this, and then we'll redirect to some other page or render some other template. But rather than requesting a whole page, we can make predictions and update a certain element only. So for that we have to use Ajax, and let me show you one example. So first of all, let's run this. This is a starter template for Flask. So Flask run.py. Let's see how is it looking. Come on. I don't know why it is so much slow. Okay, hello Kunal, it is running. So now what we'll do is we will say we'll reach out to this index.html page. We'll create a form. So first of all we'll say form, and in that form what we want is we'll create an input tag with type is equals to text, and then what we want, then then we want another input tag with type is equals to submit. So that's what we want. Let's give this id is user input. Let's say id is user input, and give it, we'll also give form id post form, and we also have to say which method we are using. We are using post method. So method is equals to post. Okay, so we have our starter template here, we have our form, and let's see how is it looking now. Okay, cool. So with that, generally what I used to do is, let's say if request dot method, first of all I have to import request and URL for, that's what we have to import, and we'll say if request dot method is post. So then what we'll do is we'll say we want to access the variable, so data is equals to request dot form. So that's what we used to do, and we'll get user input. So what is this value is referencing to, okay, we have to pass name here, not this id but name here. Let's name it something else. So we'll say name is equals to, let's say name, and then we have to change this also, because this key is referencing to that name attribute of input element. Okay, so data is now this, and then what we used to do, let's create an actual example. So in the last video I did on linear regression from scratch. So let's open this is a notebook, you can access it. I have explained linear regression in pure Python. So let's copy some code from here, copy it from here, and then let's create another file which will say linear regression from scratch.py. Okay, so here we'll paste it. Okay, what is this? slope bias slope. Okay, because I changed this variable, so let's do it back to slope and bias. I changed because in the cycle and slope is referred as coef and bias is referred as, now here also we have to say self dot slope. Okay, so now it will work perfectly. And now what we want to do is, okay, we also have to import the data set and import the library. So let's copy that code also from here. Let's copy this and paste it here. And importing important libraries, import pandas as pd, and let's also import numpy as np. And one another thing, from lrfs we want to import linear regression. Okay, now everything is done. Let's change this also. Okay, okay, so now we'll say model is equals to linear regression. We'll instantiate this linear regression class, and then we'll say model dot fit, and independent variable is df.x and dependent variable is this. Okay, then we'll say model dot predict. We have created this function, and we'll say data. So whatever the user is passing in this form, will access it with this variable, store it in this variable and pass it to the predict, and we'll also store it in predictions is equals to, okay. And then what we used to do is return redirect and URL for, first of all we have to import the redirect from Flask. Redirect URL for which URL we want to send it to. Let's create an output. Output. And what are the parameters that we want to pass? We want to pass predictions is equals to predictions. Okay, so now our initial logic is set, and then we'll create another. Let's copy this and paste it here, changing this, and also this will say output. Okay, we also have to remove this, and we'll render template output .html. And because we are redirecting and passing some parameters, we have, when we reach here, we have to access this prediction variable by saying predictions is equals to request dot get request dot args dot get, which one? Predictions. And then what we'll say, we'll pass it predictions is equals to predictions. That's what we'll do, and I think we are good to go here. Let's check it in our, let's pass some value like 600. Can't multiply sequence by non-int type of, no. Why? So first of all, let's print data and also type of data. Again, let's pass it. Can't multiply 600. Why is it so? Okay, we are just checking it. I got frustrated unnecessarily. 600. Okay, so it is, as you can see here, it is a string, and now let's convert this into a float. Oh, sorry everyone. data is equals to float data. Okay, that's cool. I think now we are good to go. And let's also convert this into a numpy array, because who knows, because user can input multiple values, so in that case he'll get multiple predictions also, he should get. Okay, now back, refresh and say 1000. So we have this predictions here. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so that's the way we used to do it with Flask. And now, so we can see we are rendering another page, but now what we want to do is, let's say we are on this page, and here somewhere here we want our predictions, and we don't want to reload this whole page. So then what we'll do is, let's move on to, we'll move this, all this predictions, we'll copy it from here, cut it from here, and we'll paste it here. Not this one, and let's correct the indentation. Okay, request dot, let's also remove all this. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we will also remove this logic also. Now we'll move to JavaScript. With the help of Ajax, we are going to submit the form to the output URL that we have created. We are going to pass the data in the form to this variable, to this function on, and this output route. So what we have to do is, we will say, we'll open a script tag, and in that we'll say document dot get element by id, and what we want is, we want which element, we want a form. We will say we have set the form id to post form, and we'll add event listener. And what event we are going to listen, we will not say click, but we'll say submit. When this form is submitted, then we'll run this function. Let's say get data. Okay, probably not the best name, but anyways, now we can say function, we have to create this get data function. We'll say get data, and in that we'll say, and one thing we have to do, we have to and we have to say dot prevent default. By saying this, we are preventing, because as a default, when we submit a form, it redirects to another page, so we are preventing that by declaring dot prevent default. That's what we are saying here. And then we'll say, and let's get this, we'll access this name variable here, we'll store it in variable name, and then we'll say document dot get element by id, and which id, and the name, no, user input, so it has this id dot value. So this is stored in this. Okay, and now what we want to do is, we will say, we'll create instantiator object called variable xhr is equals to new, and what we want is xml http request. That's what we want. And then after declaring this, we'll say xhr dot open. First of all, we want we want to save which request we are sending. We are sending the form data with post request, and next what we will pass our URL. So which URL we are passing it to? We are passing it to output URL. Okay, and let's create this, let's say true for the asynchronous requests. XHR dot set, we will say set header, set request header. In this we will type content type, content type, and next we'll say what type of content we are passing. We'll say application slash JSON. So just follow along, you will get hold of this. XRH dot onload, what when everything is done correctly, what we are going to do. Function, and let's say console dot log. First of all, we see whether we have reached here or not. Reached. Let's log this into the console, and then we'll set another logics. Okay, one more thing, important thing, for when we have to say xhr dot send also, we have to say. Now our logic is fine, and let's check this when we submit our form. Is everything working correctly or not? Okay. So now will not render a template, but we'll say JSONify predictions. So that's what we are going to say, but we have to remove this data variable from here. Data is equals to, how we are going to access this data variable. So that's what we have to figure out. So request dot JSON, that's what we are going to do, and with that we can say request dot JSON, and what is the key for that data. First of all, we have to import this also, JSONify. Okay, let's remove this and let's print data, and let's not do something else with it for now. Let's not do this also, and we'll say nothing. Okay, so let's refresh this, and maybe everything is working. Submit. So it is submitted, I guess, and let's see the console. Failed to load resources. The server responded with a status of 400 bad request. Why? So we can see here we reached here. So there is some problem with our request. We are sending this request to the output path. So it is sending some request, but it is sending a bad request. So this is the error message. So why is it so? Because because I think the data that we are sending is not in JSON format. Okay, we are not sending any data. We have to pass the parameters here. So as you can see, we have accessed the name variable here, which is the input value, that whatever we entered here, we have to say, we can say variable parameters, params is equals to, and we can create a JSON format. So we'll say whatever name. So this is the key name, and the value of this is name. So this is the key, and this value is referring to this name. We have stored whatever we are passing, we have stored in this name variable, and we are passing it here to the name variable. We can also change this name. We can say user input. Okay. So now we'll say we'll pass that params in here for JSON.stringify params. Now I guess everything is correct. Okay, let's refresh this and send some data. Internal server error. So many errors. Why is it so? Let's see if something we have something here. User input 111. So we are, remember we were printing this data here. So we have reached here. So now what we'll say, we'll create these logics now. We'll uncomment this and we'll say we'll pass this data into this. Okay, and we'll access this variable. Which variable? Which keyword what we want to access? We will say user input. User input. And now we also have to maybe, yes, it is a string. We have to data is equals to float data. I guess now everything is fine. Okay, let's check it once again. 1111 submit reach. Now we can check here, is everything fine? 1111. Let's also print predictions. Print predictions. Let's check it once again. 1111. Okay, so it is printing the predictions. We have done everything fine. So now what we want to do is we want to, in the index.html, let's say we created a div tag and give it an ID. We'll say this is predictions. Okay, so in this we can say your, so we'll leave it empty, and now in this, when everything is loaded, we'll say document dot get element by ID, which is the ID we said predict or predictions. What is that? Predictions. We'll say dot inner HTML is equals to this dot response text. Now whenever we reached here with the response text, which is the response text, we are saying JSONify.prediction. We are returning this value, which is this one, predictions. So it will be returned here, and we are accessing it with this dot response text, and then we are updating the inner HTML, the HTML of this ID, which is here, and we are saying whatever the value is responded, we will put it here. So let's check it now once again. We'll say 1111, and okay, that's good, and that feels good. So that's how we can send post requests with Ajax into Flask. Pretty long video, and yes, that's it. I think everything is done. Let me know if you want to know something more. We could have made it beautiful with the help of Bootstrap or CSS, but that's it. We focused on Ajax only in this video, and for more beautiful APIs, we'll create another video. Request me for that. I am also starting a business in which I'll create APIs for other people's. So if you want your APIs for your machine learning models, do contact me, and I'll also share when I launch my website. Okay, so thank you for now. Okay, bye bye.